What if heart disease, the number one killer on the planet, could be shut down with a single shot? Not a daily pill, not a lifelong statin prescription, not 1,000 cardio sessions on a treadmill. One infusion, done. That's the claim coming out of a small new trial that just landed in the pages of the New York Times. And if it holds up, it rewrites everything we thought we knew about cholesterol genetics and how long the human heart can actually last. Here's what happened. Scientists ran an experimental gene editing drug through a small group of patients. One dose, a single infusion delivered into the bloodstream, and the LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, the stuff that clogs arteries, hardens vessel walls, and sets the stage for the heart attack that kills more people every year than any cancer. It dropped. Not for a week, not for a month, long term. One expert quoted in the reporting used a word that almost never gets used in cardiology. Curative. Let that sit for a second. Curative. In a field where the standard of care is to manage, to maintain, to keep numbers in check with a pill every morning for the rest of your life, somebody just said the word cure out loud and didn't get laughed out of the room. So let's talk about what LDL actually is and why this matters more than any new pre-workout or protein powder you've ever seen advertised. LDL stands for low-density lipoprotein. It's the molecule that ferries cholesterol through your bloodstream. In the right amount, it's fine. Your body needs cholesterol to build cell membranes and hormones. But when LDL climbs too high and stays high for years, it starts depositing into the walls of your arteries. That buildup is called plaque. Plaque narrows the pipes. Narrow pipes mean less blood flow. And when a chunk of that plaque finally cracks open, your body sends a clot to patch it. And that clot is what stops your heart. This is the mechanism behind roughly every heart attack you've ever heard about. It's the reason your doctor keeps nagging you about your numbers. It's the reason statins became one of the most prescribed drug classes in human history. Lower the LDL, lower the risk. That equation has held up across decades of data, but statins have a catch. You have to take them every day, forever. Miss a few weeks and your LDL drifts right back up. Stop entirely and the protective effect fades. For millions of people, that daily compliance is the difference between a long life and a sudden one. And a huge chunk of those people simply don't take the pill. They forget, they feel fine. They quit because of side effects. They never get diagnosed in the first place. That's the wall this new gene editing approach is trying to smash through. Instead of suppressing LDL production with a daily drug, it edits the gene responsible for keeping LDL high. One shot. The instructions in your DNA get tweaked. Your liver, which is the organ that handles most cholesterol processing, starts behaving differently, and the LDL stays down. Not because you're taking something every morning, because the underlying machinery has been retuned. Now, before anyone throws their statins in the trash, let's stay honest about what the trial actually showed. This was small, experimental, early stage. The reporting describes a single infusion that appeared to reduce LDL over a meaningful period in a limited group of patients. That is not the same as a finished, FDA-approved therapy sitting on a pharmacy shelf. The road from a promising small trial to a treatment your cardiologist can actually prescribe is long, expensive, and littered with drugs that looked amazing at this stage and then flamed out at the next one. But the fact that one expert called it potentially curative is not nothing. Cardiologists are a conservative bunch. They watch decades of cholesterol research. They've seen miracle drugs come and go. When somebody in that world uses the word cure, it means the data is unusual enough to make a careful scientist say something they normally wouldn't. Here's where this connects to the gym, to the iron, to everything you do under that squat rack. Because there's a tension running through fitness culture right now that nobody wants to address directly. We tell people that training fixes everything. Lift heavy, eat clean, run your zone 2, and your cardiovascular system will reward you. And that's true, up to a point. Exercise lowers LDL. It raises HDL, the good kind. It improves the elasticity of your blood vessels. It reduces inflammation. Every one of those changes lowers your heart disease risk. But genetics still wins a lot of fights. There are lifters in incredible shape, single-digit body fat, deadlifting 4 plates, who walk into a doctor's office and find out their LDL is 190. There are marathon runners who drop dead at 42. There are people who eat perfectly, sleep perfectly, train perfectly, and still inherit a genetic profile that pumps out cholesterol faster than any treadmill can burn it off. For those people, training is necessary but not sufficient. Lifestyle is the floor, not the ceiling. This is the population that a one-and-done gene therapy could actually save. Familial hypercholesterolemia, the inherited condition where LDL runs catastrophically high from birth, affects roughly 1 in 250 people. That's not a rounding error. That's millions worldwide who often have heart attacks in their 30s and 40s, no matter how disciplined they are. For them, the idea of a single infusion that resets the genetic dial is the difference between burying a parent at 50 and watching a grandkid graduate at 75. And for the rest of us, the people with normal genetics who still slowly accumulate plaque over decades, the implications get more interesting. If a treatment like this proves safe and durable, the entire model of cardiovascular medicine flips. Right now, the system is reactive. You get older, your numbers drift, you get a statin, you manage. A one-shot intervention would let medicine get ahead of the disease entirely. You wouldn't be treating heart disease. You'd be preventing it from ever starting. That is the dream that has driven cardiology for 50 years. Now, the cautious part. Gene editing inside a living human is still relatively new technology. The tools we have today, CRISPR and its cousins, the base editors, the prime editors, are precise compared to what came before, but they're not perfect. Off-target edits can happen. Long-term effects in a system as complex as human metabolism take years, sometimes decades, to fully understand. A small trial showing strong short to medium-term results is not a guarantee of safety at scale. Every responsible scientist working in this space will tell you the same thing. The data looks promising, the work is not done. There's also the question of access. Even if this therapy clears every trial, gets approved, and proves durable for decades, the price tag on cutting-edge gene therapies has historically been brutal. Some sit at hundreds of thousands of dollars per dose. Some climb into the millions. A treatment that could theoretically prevent the world's leading cause of death is only as good as the number of people who can actually receive it. That problem doesn't get solved in a lab. It gets solved in policy, in insurance, in healthcare systems that haven't shown a lot of recent appetite for solving anything quickly. So where does that leave a person watching this right now, halfway through a cup of coffee, trying to decide whether to skip the gym today? In the same place as before, honestly. Train, lift, move, keep your resting heart rate down. Keep your body fat in a reasonable range. Eat food that came from a plant or had a face, not food that came from a factory with a marketing department. Get your blood work done annually so you actually know your LDL, your HDL, your triglycerides, your ApoB. If your numbers are bad, talk to a doctor about why. If your numbers are great, keep doing what you're doing, but also pay attention, because the next decade of cardiovascular medicine might look nothing like the last one. The drugs your parents took every morning may become the historical footnote that your kids learn about in school. The annual cholesterol panel may stop being a chronic monitoring exercise and start being a one-time genetic question that gets answered, edited, and closed. Heart disease has killed more humans than every war combined. It's been the silent backdrop to every generation of human life, the thing that quietly takes fathers and mothers and grandparents while we're focused on flashier problems. The idea that science might finally be holding a real lever against it, a single-shot lever, is not a small piece of news. It's the kind of thing that, if it works, future textbooks will mark as the turning point, the year cholesterol stopped being a sentence and started being a setting on a dial. We're not there yet. But for the first time in a long time, the people doing the work are using language that suggests the dial exists. And that changes everything about how we think about staying alive long enough to use the bodies we're building.